When you hear the words virtual office, what do you think of? A laptop or a BlackBerry maybe? I bet desks and break rooms probably never even crossed your mind. But virtual offices are quickly becoming a solution for small businesses that want to enter new markets, but without the high costs. In this morning's Wall Street Journal, small business editor Wendy Bounds took a look at a few of the companies that offer those kinds of offices, and she joins us here this morning. This is like smoke and mirrors, like trying to look like you're everywhere when you're really not, right?
Like you have a space when you don't. I mean, as you know, having office space is one of the most expensive things a small business has to do. It can be a noose around their neck if they're not careful to sign a long-term lease. Shared office spaces where multiple companies have offices under one roof with amenities like copy machines and kitchens and things like that. That's been around for a while. Now they're pushing, Carl, as you said, virtual services where small businesses for a smaller fee, $150, $350 a month, can get an address and a telephone number in a market, maybe where they're expanding, but have no physical space at all or rent space temporarily.
If you need the space, you can get it by appointment,
right.
But otherwise you just have your phone line and maybe a fax number.
Right, and it shows that you have a presence. Like a law firm, for instance, that is expanding out into California. Let's say they're based in the Northeast. They don't want to spend to have to sign a five-year lease. They know they want to have a place where their clients can go and meet. They could have their attorney work at home, but when he needs a place to go, then he can, like you said, make an appointment and go use the space that day.
What I like about this story is it really points to companies. We talk so much about CapEx and how companies are nervous about investing a lot, especially in new markets. This is a way to get a toehold, but not necessarily commit, as you say, 5 year, 1 year.
1 year. I mean, you can even do this for a month. And think about it. We're in a global economy. You want to set up a business presence in Spain. You can have, within an hour, you can call up and with one of these services from a Regis group or another player, you can have someone answering your calls in Spanish that day. And you can have a presence in that market, again, without, like you say, investing all the money to get a physical space that you might wind up not needing.
You say there could 4,000 of these in America, 5,500 worldwide?
Yeah, and it's fast growing. And I think what's really interesting is that they are going after the small business market now. And I think that, again, this was something in the old days people used to kind of shy away from shared office concept. They thought it wasn't real office space. We've got a mobile workforce. We've got all these wireless tools. And we have small businesses now who really are starting to take advantage of this because they say we can be everywhere without having to pay, to pay the cost.
Some of the drawbacks, I guess, would be if, in fact, you can't manage to get space on the time you want it.
Right.
And some of these fees over time, I imagine the more services you want, the more those fees add up.
That's an excellent point because it's not as if every fax that you send is included in that monthly fee. You have to pay extra for the faxing, for the copying. And let's say you have someone down the hall, who's making a lot of noise, someone like a Liz Clayman who likes to play her music while she's
oh, you don't
working,
even know.
Or something like that. That in turn can be something, you can't just go fire that person. They don't work for you. So you have to take into account that you are in some shared space. And again, if you're just using the virtual model, maybe you won't be able to get an appointment that day. And those are some things you have to weigh when making these decisions.
It's interesting, but especially the international component too.
Right.
For those who have no familiarity with those kinds of markets, it's a nice way to get in.
Yep, especially if you're a startup, this is one of the things you really want to think about is not having to plunk all your money into office space right away.
Right. That's expensive. Yep. Wendy, thank you.
Thanks,
Wendy Bounds.
Traders overseas are wrapping up their